A couple of minutes. If you could find your seats, we'd appreciate it. We're going to get started right away. Find your seats and we'll get going. Thank you. All right, folks, we are starting in just a short minute. So especially those at the back, if you could find your seats so we could get going, that would be excellent. Thanks. We'll be right with you shortly. Hello, everybody. Hi, folks. For the remaining few, if you could grab your chairs. I would like to get all of us seated and present. How many people here have been to the YWHISPER before? By applause. How many people here? How many people here have never been to the YWHISPER Gala? This is their first time. How many people are here are excited to see Erin Brockovich? How many of you are here? Wow. We have a tremendous night for you. I'm going to wait till the last few hugs are done. Hi, folks. If you could have a seat there. Hello, everybody. This is the biggest YWHISPER Gala that we have ever had. You are part of the biggest evening for the YWCA that has ever happened, and you're part of that, and it's going to be a magic night. I'm going to come out here. My name is Dave Kelly, and not just Dave Kelly, I'm Dave Kelly, salmon entree. How many people are salmon entree people tonight? Thank you. How many people are chicken? Are you ready for this? Okay, who's all the Alberta people that are having beef? Nobody. How many vegetarians are here? Thanks for the support, appreciate that. We have, did our police chief make it here today? Make it yet? There he is. Can we hear it for our police chief, Rick Hansen, who's joining us here today? He is the honorary chair of this evening. He knows and works directly with what happens when things aren't going well, and he's going to be here and talking to us in just a bit. We have some other folks I'd like you to meet. The Honourable Mr. Jonathan Dennis, MLA, Minister of Justice and Solicitor General. General is with us here, along with Ms. Christine Casanelli, MLA, Calgary Curry. Can we thank them and welcome them for being here? My old workmate, Ms. Sandra Jansen, MLA, Calgary Northwest, and His Worship Naheed Nenshi, Mayor of Calgary, are also with us here today. I'm going to bring the mayor up in just one sec. Councillors for the City of Calgary, Mr. Richard Pootmans and Mr. Sean Chew are with us here. The CEO of YWCA Canada, Paulette Sr., is also with us here tonight. And our partner organizations within the community, Alberta Human Services, Family and Community Support Services for the City of Calgary, Calgary Homeless Foundation, and the United Way of Calgary area. That United Way, aren't they great? Can we thank all of those partners for joining us here tonight? And now to bring words to us on behalf of the city, on behalf of City Hall, would you please welcome our Mayor, Nenshi. Come on up here, Mayor.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much, Dave. I was meant to speak later, and unfortunately, I can't stay with you tonight. So I'm very sad about that. So I shoehorned myself in to chat with you before dinner, and Dave Kelly made it very clear to me that I have 2 minutes. But he also said it's a Dave Kelly 2 minutes. And those of you who know Dave Kelly know if you put him in front of a microphone, I'm guessing I've got 27, 29 minutes before any of you actually want to eat or anything. But I just want to say to all of you who are in the room here today, thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for supporting the important work of the YWCA. Because as you know, the YW does important work every single day, often working with people who find themselves or feel themselves to be the most marginalized and the most vulnerable in our community. And it's important that we do that work through glittering galas like tonight, but also the hard work that the staff and volunteers of the YW do every single day, waking up in the morning every single day knowing they can make a huge change in the life of someone who needs that huge change. This is called the Why Whisper Gala. But I want to tell you that we can't just whisper about the serious problems facing women and some women and families in our community. We got to use our voices. And we've got to understand our responsibility to each other and our responsibility to act when we see violence, to act when we see someone stumble, to help pick them up and help put them back on the road, again, on that path to prosperity and opportunity that we work so hard to build. And that's what the YWCA does so well for all of us today. So today we got a couple of goals. Number one, spend lots of money. You think, I bought a ticket to this nice gala. I've supported the YWCA. Oh, it's just beginning. Get your checkbooks out, get your wallets out. That's why we're here today. But more important than that, much more important than that, I hope you take away from tonight inspiration. Inspiration to act. You're going to be inspired by Erin Brockovich tonight. I had 2 minutes with her outside. Oh my God, you're going to be inspired by her tonight about taking your own hands and heart and mind and soul to make change in our community. You're going to be inspired by stories of the people that the YWCA has helped. You're going to be inspired by stories of the YWCA leadership, staff, and volunteers. That's all great. But if you go away tonight and you think to yourself, wow, the YWCA does good work, and I'm so happy that I had the chance to support them, it means we haven't gone far enough. Because if I've learned anything about what makes our community work, is that it's not about the politicians. It's certainly not about the politicians. It's not about the amazing leaders like Sue Tomney and her team, and Patty McLeod, the board chair, and her team. What makes extraordinary change in our community for the people who need the extraordinary change the most is everyday people. Everyday people doing everyday things with their everyday hands and their everyday voices to make extraordinary change in our community. And I hope that every single one of you walks away tonight as you're going home thinking, what can I do more? What can I do with my hands, with my voice, with my heart, with my mind, with my soul, with my wallet? How can I do more? How can I do more to make sure that the promise of our community, that very, very, very simple but important promise, that promise that every single person in every single corner of our community, regardless of what she looks like or where she comes from, regardless of how she worships or whom she loves, that every single person in every single corner of our community has the opportunity right here, right now, to live a great Canadian life. That's our job. It's our job. It's our job to fulfill that promise with whatever we've got, and it's the job of great leaders like those of the YWCA to give us the opportunity to do just that. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Awesome. Well done. That is our mayor. Thank you very much, Mayor Nenshi. What a good guy, and good of him to find the time to be here. Speaking of good people, there are some good people that helped make tonight happen, and I don't want to forget them. Our title sponsor is Enbridge, our gold sponsor is ATB Financial, and our silver sponsors are Avenue Magazine, Birchcliff Energy, Canadian Oil Sands, ConocoPhillips Canada, Ryan, and Talisman Energy. Can we give all of them a big round of applause? And, we have a bunch of bronze sponsors, and, okay, I have a confession to make. Something happened. Okay, let me just tell you what happened. So I was at home. I was on my way here. I was just about to leave, and my wife, Blythe, yells as I'm going out the door. She says, "Honey, did you get that mortgage thing figured out? And it's been a month, and you're supposed to it's due tonight." And I'm like, "Of course I did." But I didn't, right? So I'm leaving and I'm thinking, I gotta do this, and I'm on my way here. So I go over to our lawyers, Davis LLP, great people. I go in there and I say, our bank, TD Bank, did some great work with us. We gotta get these things signed, right? So they signed it. I'm leaving, I'm trying to get out of the office, and this guy's in the way at the reception, and he says, "I'm from Tamarack Valley Energy, and I need some help with my high pressure sand recovery." And I'm like, "This is the law office, sir." And I say, but you know what? Have you ever thought of specialized sand removal? They're a great company. They can help you out with that. And he's like, "How do you know? What do you know of this?" And I said, "Well, my uncle works, here's his card, RMP Energy. He can help you out, right?" And they say, "Okay, that's great. Specialized desanders and your uncle. We'll see what I can do with that." And I think, okay, fine. And then I'm leaving. He doesn't want the card. And I get in my car and I'm backing out to come here, and I look in the rearview mirror and I don't have my tie. I totally forgot my tie, right? So I'm like, I gotta go home. So I'm going into our neighborhood and I look around and I think, this neighborhood looks awesome. It's so good. And I look up and there's a big sign, Qualico Communities. I'm thinking, well, isn't that nice? Isn't that right? Anyway, so I pull into my driveway and I'm in the driveway and my neighbor Wade is there. Now, Wade works for Larkspur, great company, Larkspur Inc. And in the day, but at night he does crossword puzzles in his car. I'm not talking about his marriage, I don't know, but he likes to sit in his car and do crossword puzzles, right? So he rolls down the window as I'm going in and he says to me, hey, Dave, I'm looking for a 1960s lyric with Ride the Painted Pony. And I'm like, spinning wheel, blood, sweat, and tears, 1969. He says, I know, reminds me of Painted Pony Petroleum. I go, I thought the same thing, right? So then I go into the house because I remember clearly that I left my tie on the dining room table. So I go in there to the kitchen table, I look down, there's no tie. There's no tie. There's the program for tonight. It's right there. I look at it and I say, oh, look at Oil City Press did this. Isn't that awesome? But where's my tie? And then the phone rings, right? So I pick up the phone and I answer the phone. And they say, hello, is this Novus Energy? I say, no, it's not Novus, but they're a great company. You have the wrong number. And I hang up. And then I run into the back, to the bedroom, right? So I go into the bedroom thinking maybe I left the tie there. And my wife is there, Blythe, and she's hanging up this beautiful piece of art. And I'm like, where did you get that? Were you hanging out with Jane McKay? Because Jane McKay loves her art, right? So she'd know. And she said, no, I got this from New Zone Art Galleries. I'm like, how could we ever afford that? And she says, I said, are you rich? And then she hands me a card. And she says, no, here's what happens. MSB Law gave me some tax advice. Here's their card and on my company, and I'm rich. I look at her and I say, we're rich? And she says, no, I'm rich. I said, well, what does that mean? And she says, oh, I did some investing. I went to Macquarie Capital Markets, did a bunch there. And then I went to the Forge Group at CIBC Wood Gundy, made a pile of money there. I had so much money, I went down to J. Ver Anderson Jewelers and got myself a beautiful necklace. And I'm just standing there listening to this, right? And I'm sad. And she says, oh, no, honey, I got us dinner at Mercado. You'll be fine. So I'm thinking, okay, all right, I'm good with that. That seems fine to me, right? I'm standing there and she goes, don't you have an event? I'm like, oh, an event, I forgot, my tie. I need a tie. What happened to my tie? And she's like, I said, I put it on the front dining room table. And her eyes get really big and Blythe says, honey, I didn't know. A guy just came by like 10 minutes ago and he said, I need a tie. I'm on my way to something. Do you have a tie I can use? And I gave it to him. I'm like, you did what? So I go running out thinking I can catch the guy. Wade rolls down his window again and says, what does CNRL stand for? And I say, Canadian Natural Resources Limited, right? And then I go out of there and I bam, face first into a pole right down on the ground. I'm unconscious. I finally come to and I stand up and this guy comes up to me and he says, whoa, buddy, you're under a lot of pressure. You got to relax. And I say, are you a doctor? And he says, no, I'm not a doctor. I'm with Foothills Industry Products, and we deal with high pressure control. So I think we can help you. And I'm like, that's not going to help me. And I think it's gas. I think maybe I have gas, right? And this other guy comes up and he says, gas? I know gas. And I look at him and I say, you a doctor? And he says, no, my name's Ryder. I'm with Encana. I'm like, no, different gas, right? And then and then this ambulance pulls up. They throw me in the ambulance. They say, we got to do some scans. We're going to EFW radiology. I'm like, I don't got time for this. So we go into EFW radiology. The nurse is there. She said, I need some ID. So I take out my wallet and I give her all of it. I say, you figure it out. I'm just flustered. And I'm standing there and thinking, I need some advice. And there are these people, 3 very professional looking women sitting in the reception area, right? And they're all sitting there. And I look at one of them and she hands me a card and she says, hi, I'm a lawyer with Denton's. We can help you with all your international law. And I say, okay, thank you. That's very nice, right? And then the next person says, oh, and I'm a lawyer. I'm here with Crow McKay. We also can help you with any of your law needs. And I'm like, okay, thank you. And this other woman goes to hand me a card and I say, let me guess, you're a lawyer. And she says, no, I'm not. I'm with Crew Energy. But my husband's a lawyer, right? So maybe he can help you. He's with Cousin Taylor if you want to talk to him. I'm like, okay, that's great. And I look at my watch. I am late at this point, like stupid late. So I look at everyone and I say, I'm sorry, I got to go. So I run out and the ambulance is still there. I jump in the ambulance. I say, look, I got to there's the YWHISPER Gala. It's for the YWCA. It's a big deal. Erin Brockovich is going to be there. And if I screw up in front of her and I'm late and they put on the sirens and they barrel here for me, this is awesome. And then my phone rings, right? So I pick up the phone and I say, hello. And this voice says, hello, Dave. This is Anne McCaig. Where are you? Anne McCaig, right? So I'm like, Anne, I'm serious. I'm so sorry. I've had a real day, but I'm almost there. I'm going to be there like in a minute. I'm very close. She said, Dave, this is the YWHISPER Gala. It's the 4th. It's the largest ever. We're going to try to raise $600,000 tonight. You have to be here. I'm like, Anne, I know. It's a big deal. It's a great cause. I'll be right there. And she says to me, you better have your game face on and you better be looking good. I'm like, okay, hang up my phone and I'm just about to come right here and I look in the doorway in the glass. I still don't have a tie, right? I need a tie. So I go burning down Stephen Avenue all the way to Holt Renfrew and I go there and I grab a tie and I go to the till and I throw it down and I realize my wallet is still over at the radiology place. And I'm standing there and I'm about to cry. And this beautiful, professional-looking woman beside me pulls out her Citibank card and says, let me get that for you. So then I'm put on my tie and I'm running here like I'm knocking people over to get here, and I come around the corner and I'm just about to come in this door and it's closed and it's late and I'm freaking out, and this guy opens the door. I'm like, oh my God, that's so nice. And as I'm running past, I go, I know you. And I look and I go, you're Chuck. You're the guy that runs Agrium, right? And as I run past, I go, and you're wearing my tie, right? And so then I come running up and I'm here, and then the mayor comes and I'm here, and I got a confession to make, you guys. I have no idea who the bronze sponsors are. I don't know. So they're going to be up on the screen now and then, so if you could at least acknowledge them. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to, but that's who they are. Those of you that work in the office beside me, I apologize for having to hear that all afternoon today, but you know who else is here tonight? The board members of the YWCA. If you please could stand up so we could all give you a round of applause for doing so much great work for our city. I feel like I want to be out here still. Okay, a couple of things I want you to know. Live auction, that's one way you can say I care. Another way you can say you care, raffle tickets. They're $100 each. We're hoping to sell them all out during the dinner so that after we can come up and do a draw, somebody's going to win a beautiful set of earrings from J. Ver Anderson Jewelers. I don't know if you mentioned them, but my wife ended up getting something today. Also, there's a painting by Kathy Daly, a great artist we're going to be giving away her painting as part of the raffle, so be part of that if you can. QR code, there's donation cards in your programs. Try to use those if you can. YWCAofcalgary.com/YWHISPER is how you can do it online, and we'll be able to follow it right here on the screen. That's high tech, you guys. You don't know the experience it takes, the wires, the cables. Essentially, like our mayor said, there are women tonight in our city who are poor, who are homeless, who are dealing with abuse, and who are feeling isolated. Tonight, we want to be able to say to them with our hearts, with our minds, with our voices, and with our wallets, that they are not alone. That's what we're here for tonight. I want Sue Tomney to give us a big wave. Sue Tomney has done so much great work as the woman who runs the YWCA. Where are you? She's right here. Those of you that know Sue know that she works with an incredible mind and an incredible spirit, but more than anything with a huge heart. Thank you, Sue, for all the work you do, especially for the YWCA and for our city. You're a good person. And now, I just see Orange Frog Productions donated $4,000. Is that true? Is that actually true? I just was told. So look at this. Look at this. Orange Frog has got this. There's all kinds of people already donated. Do that online. Think of it as a video game. If you put 1 million, just see what happens. You can get the high score. How satisfying would that be? I would like to bring up Rebecca Morley now. Rebecca Morley is the chair of this evening, this whole gala, the committee that put this together. She also sits on the board. She's the vice chair of the board. She is the treasurer of the board. She has 10 years experience in the finance world. She works with RAIN now as one of their VPs. She's a very talented person, but I met her about 6 months ago when we talked about tonight, and her eyes were on fire about tonight. She was in there, and she said, I want it to be big, I want it to be great, and I want women out there to know we are here. And she's going to honor us with our grace tonight. Would you please welcome Rebecca Morley? Come on up here, Rebecca.
Thank you so much for being here, and thank you, Dave. It has been an absolute pleasure to chair the 4th annual YWCA YWHISPER Fundraising Gala Committee. The hardworking members of the committee, as well as the YWCA staff members, have made it truly enjoyable. First, let me say a huge thank you to the honorary chair of this year's Gala Committee, Calgary's Police Chief Rick Henson. Securing one of the exciting auction items we will be bidding on later tonight was a great asset to this event. However, your ongoing support of the YWCA and a belief in a better community for everyone truly embodies why we are here tonight. Let me express my appreciation to the committee members for their tireless dedication. Please stand to be recognized as I call your name. Tina Buckthorpe. Drina Lazar. My sister, Allison Morley. And our founding chair, Jane McKeag. I would also like to express my sincere thanks to my Chair Advisory Committee for their support and guidance in helping make this gala a success. There are 3 members of the committee who are not here this evening: my incredibly supportive mother-in-law, Stephanie Fileski, Anne McKeag, and Karen Radford. For those who are here, if you could please stand to be recognized as I call your name. Leslie O'Donoghue, Jeff Tonkin, and Lori Van Royen. I would now like to share a short blessing with you, if you'll please bow your heads and join me. Let us pray silently together, each one of us according to our own individual beliefs. Let us offer thanks for our food and the blessings of fellowship around us. Let us be a source of hope for those in need and contentment for those who are lonely. Let us give gratitude for the opportunities we have to serve our community, including the women that will be helped by the YWCA of Calgary through our actions here tonight. Let the feelings of love, kindness, and a well-directed yet gentle spirit always be reflected in our actions. Thank you for being here, and enjoy your meal.
This is your time to chat with each other and relax. The program will happen a little bit later on. If you're bored at all during the meal, it's a perfect time to bid on the auction item. So I'm just throwing it out there as something to do. We'll be right back.
If I gave you a reason, say what you're feeling, showed you the right sign, bringing you closer, look at you slowly, lost in the moment. I know what you're thinking, and it keeps me hanging on. No, no. make it better. Got to make it. 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 is alive. There behind your eyes. My spirit is alive. In love, in love. Oh, your spirit is alive. Patience is required. Beauty might be seen if you open up your eyes to love, your love. like magic, you really believe true love. It's like you and I have found true love that's all around. It's like you and I have found true love that's all around. Oh, I want it every day and every night. So
Sure. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Erin Brockovich. It could be true. We are so excited here tonight because not only do we get to hear from Erin Brockovich, but we are going to be able to talk briefly afterwards with our police chief, Rick Hansen, who Julia Roberts played in a movie. So that's kind of cool. I also have to tell you, this is what happened. I'm in the bathroom, right? In the men's room. And there's only 8 of us because there's only about 15 of us here tonight. So I'm in the men's room. And I'm there. Everything's fine. Everything's good. And in the middle of it, this guy comes up beside me. And he is from GMP Securities, right? And he's from GMP Securities. Did I mention he's from GMP Securities? Anyway, the guy's from GMP Securities, and he says, that was an awesome thing you did with the bronze sponsors. And I said, I know, especially the part about GMP Securities, right? And he was so happy that I mentioned GMP Securities in that story that he just said to himself, I can't believe that you did that for GMP Security. So it happened. Isn't that awesome? And let's hear it for those guys. Who wants to win a prize? By applause. Let me hear you. Do we want to do the art first or diamonds first? Diamonds first? Who wants to win some diamonds? Okay, here goes. Think your ticket. Think your name. Are you thinking your name? The ticket that is winning diamond earrings from J. Ver Anderson is Dave Kelly. Oh, no. The winner is Andrea Lady, H-L-A-D-Y. Is that you? If anybody would like to trade with her, her email right here. No, I'm just kidding. And now for a beautiful piece of art. We're turning the drum. Is going to Ashley Ferris. Let's hear it for Ashley Ferris. Well done, Ashley. If you'd like to call her to congratulate her, her number's 403-85... No, I'm just kidding. I was just noticing on the screen, too, all of these folks that have been donating. Vermilion Energy put in $10,000. Just so you know. Can we hear it for Vermilion Energy? $10,000 allows 4 women the use of the YWCA facilities, including Sheriff King homes, counseling, food, and help for 21 days. Thank you very much, Vermilion, and thanks to all the other folks on the list who are doing so much for us. And I should mention, some people are having trouble getting online, trying to donate. So many people are trying, it's a little bit hard, and that's a good problem to have, so keep trying. We appreciate the efforts and hang in there. You will get through and it will happen. Now, I am going to move here, and I'm going to talk. I want to bring up a very special guest. She's ready? Good. Can I introduce you to Lynette? Before I bring her up, I want you to look at that picture. And I'm going to ask for you to be quiet, if I could. Those near the back, I know you're bidding. but I want to make sure Lynette gets everybody listening. Thank you. This is Lynette when she first got married. She was happy. Her life was wonderful. She had a cat, and her life was good. But like many people when they get into a relationship, she wasn't aware of exactly where it would go, and it went south, and it went south fast. Her husband, although not terribly physically abusive, was verbally abusive, who would call her names, who would put her down, who would not let her hug him and would not hug her, who was unkind to her in every way. And after a decade, her soul was slowly crushed. And at around 10 years, she was at the bay, and she walked by a mirror, and she saw herself in the mirror, and she didn't recognize herself. This is who she saw. And she looked at that picture and she said, I have 2 daughters. They can't have a mother like this. So she said, my husband calls me names every day. I need something to believe in myself. So she went to college. And she was telling me the reason I went to college was they grade you. And I could hold a report card and it would say, I'm smart. And she did not feel that way. So she went to college. And she worked at becoming a better person. And because she said, I have to leave this relationship, but I can't leave it while I feel so low. And she trained and she worked, and then she said, I have no money. I have no credit. What do I do? So she worked towards getting a credit card. Eventually, she had the strength to go out and get some serious training. And where's our picture of her? Because it's the most awesome picture ever. Look at that. Isn't that? I know you're all thinking, where can I get hair like that? I know. Lynette, this is when she graduated with her real estate diploma. And she finally left this abusive, horrifying, crushing relationship. And you would say to yourself, the sun shone in. She was in a new home. She had a new man in her life. Her 2 daughters were safe. She felt good. She felt free. What could possibly go wrong? And let's find out. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome Lynette, wherever you are. Lynette, come on up here. Hi, Lynette.
Hi.
Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you.
You're here with some of your very close friends, so just sit here, relax. So, as I explained it, there you were, home, new guy, life was perfect.
Life was exciting. I
And
was
then-
ready to go.
And then,
I got out of it. And then I hit a wall. My whole world fell apart.
and this happened in a night. Can you tell us
Yeah,
about
it
the
was
night?
about, after I left, I thought, I survived, right? But about 9 months later, it was a Saturday, and my children went on a jazz and tap. So I was always the stage mom, and I went to help. And this was a Saturday before Mother's Day.
Right?
And my one daughter came up to me and said, well, Dad wants us to sleep at his house tonight. Is that okay? And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Go ahead, have fun, honey. So I went home alone, and I was like, oh, what can I do? I've got no kids. I'm gonna paint my living room. So I'm busy painting and feeling really good about myself. My boyfriend went to the bar. It was about midnight, and back then, it was 1999, we had landlines, right? The phone rang, and we actually had an answering machine that was hooked up to the phone. And when I grabbed the phone, the answering machine caught the call, so I thought it was just my boyfriend, calling to say that he'd be home soon. And so I hung up, and I never thought twice about it. Painted probably for another hour, and then I went to bed. And about 2 o'clock, my boyfriend wakes me up in the middle of the night, and he's like, oh my God, you have to get up, and you gotta listen to the message on the answering machine. And I'm like, I can wait. Like, who cares? And he's like, no, no, no. Oh, you got to come and get it. You got to listen to this. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, the answering machine was downstairs. We were up on a 2-story old home that was 100 years old. So I like stumble downstairs. He plays the answer machine for me, and it was my ex-husband, and he is like ranting. You guys are losers. You're nothing but pieces of shit. You don't deserve to be a mom. You're not. Sorry. You're not worthy of your children. And I'm like, okay, he's crazy. And the message said, I will meet you at the Save-On parking lot at midnight. And well, this was already 2 o'clock. So I'm like, well, he goes, my boyfriend goes, well, I'm going to the Save-On parking lot. And I'm like, well, he's not going to still be there, and you don't want to do that. That's like stupid. And the guy's just like ranting and complaining and calling us down. Just like, ignore it. It's the best way to handle it. So he goes like, no, I'm going to go, because he had a few beers. So he goes to the Save-On parking lot, and he comes back. I'm in bed again. But this time he leaves all the lights on. And that will be a miracle for me. So he climbs in bed, and the other miracle was that I wasn't any longer in a deep sleep. I was semi-sleeping. And as the light was bright in my eyes, I'm like, I should get up and I should turn that light off. But I've had a long day. I'm just gonna like ignore it. I'm gonna go to sleep. That was another miracle that I didn't go and turn that light off. So probably an hour that goes by, I hear the old 100-year-old creaking stairs, and the noise is getting louder and louder. So I'm thinking to myself, I could feel my heart just pounding. An immense fear took over me. And I'm like, am I hearing things, or could that be real? And the noise got louder. And because of that answering machine call, I'm like, well, I bet you it's my ex-husband breaking into my house. But I never ever guessed what I would see when I opened the door to the bedroom that night. I got up out of bed. I thought I'm going to go check. And I opened that door. And he was standing right at the door. And the barrel of the gun was right in my chest. You never know how you're going to react until you have that kind of a moment. What surprised me is I was really calm. And I was staring at him. He never said anything. I looked down at his hands. He had plastic rubber gloves. They were blue. His skin was gray. He had beads of sweat on his face, and his upper lip was vibrating. The pupils in his eyes were so large, there was no more color left in his eyes. And I said to him, you need to go home. Please don't kill me. Your children need a mother, and they need a father. You need to put the gun down, and you need to go home. At this point in time, my boyfriend got up out of bed. And if you would just stand up for a minute. Could you just stand up for a minute?
Yep.
Okay, so you are my ex-husband. You're pointing the gun here, right? My boyfriend came in, and he put his arms around me like this, grabbed the barrel of the gun, and pushed it down like this. So this is me. My ex-husband's here, and I'm standing there. The gun's down. It goes off. The blast was so loud, I thought my head exploded. But I also realized that, like, I've heard people when you get shot that you don't necessarily feel, you know, your leg missing or something. So I looked down and I'm like, who's missing their leg? Is it me? Is it my boyfriend? No one was shot. I'm like, oh my God. No one's shot. So I'm like, I gotta phone 911. So my boyfriend's holding the gun still. I dive underneath the arms. I run to my phone in my bedroom because I was sleeping in my daughter's room for some reason. Remember, all the lights were on. The hallway. I go to my bedroom, the phone, there's no dial tone. I'm like, oh my God, I can't even call the police. I am going to die. I'm gonna die today.
And then, we were talking about this story at the YW, and I'm going to just tell a bit of it, if that's okay. So, fast forward a bit. Well, we have the newspaper article that's there. So, this terrible situation happens to you, awful. It ends up in court. The courts say he's going away. Not for as long as you'd like, but he's going away. There's a restraining order, so even if he comes out, so everything, you'd say, okay, first you left him, hooray, beautiful picture, curly hair, life's good. And then this happens, horrifying, but then he's gone away. So you think, okay, life is good again, everything's fine, onward and upward. And?
Yeah, you'd think, I survived. I didn't get shot.
You're okay.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
But what I didn't realize was that night changed my entire being. With every fiber in my muscles, I have fear.
Because somebody said that sort of a situation is no different, but it's like soldiers where they have post-traumatic stress. It's a horrifying thing that changes you at a cellular level that you just can't get away from.
Exactly, and I didn't know what was happening. So I knew that I couldn't, any conflict, I couldn't face it. I moved every 40 days for a year because I was terrified.
And it wasn't, and he was in jail. It's not like, so it was still, whatever was going on, and we have pictures too of you in this time, and again, you'd think, okay, everything is good. So your life just goes in this spiral that you can't get out of, and all of your friends would think, what's the big deal, right?
My friends abandoned me.
Because they're thinking, you're okay.
My family abandoned me. My friends didn't want to talk to me because they were scared that if they talked to me, they would get killed. Then they didn't want to hear my story. It was too sad. And my family for some reason, didn't rally around me. I don't know why. They abandoned me as well. I have my 2 children that have always been there. And I had no one else. And I'm in a panic mode. I couldn't stay anywhere. I couldn't face anything. So there was a friend of mine, a coworker, that said, you know, there's a Sheriff King home, and you should go check out them. They've got some really good programs. So I'm like, I've got to do something. I can't exist like this.
And for the folks, that's a YW program, right? So
YWCA.
You go in.
Sheriff King. I go in. They have I think it's like a 12-week program. There's education about picking men and the characteristics that these men have. And as I was reading it, I'm like, oh my God, that's my life.
Right.
Right? They taught me that the reason why I'm running and the reason why I can't function as a human, I've got post-traumatic stress disorder. I still wake up at 4:30 in the morning today. But they gave me the tools so that I didn't have to run anymore. I could say, you know what, I am safe, I'm fine, no one's in my house, and then I can be a healthy, productive person in society, and I can be the best mom and the best Gigi that I can ever possibly be.
And you're a grandma now.
I am a grandma now.
How about
She's
now?
3. Now
we have pictures. This is obviously when things weren't going well. But can we go to the last picture that's so amazing, and folks watching this are just going to be so moved. This last, we're going to go to it. It's coming. It's coming. It's the family pictures. There, see? So we went to the Y. Isn't that something? Look at that. Can you tell me who's in those pictures?
Courtney's the blonde, and then we have Kylie in the middle, and then there's me. And then the one below, there's Tanya. She's in the audience today. And I just want to say, Tanya, thank you for sticking by me, loving me no matter what.
Who's that really young one there?
Pardon me?
Who's the really young one?
Kylie.
No.
She's 3.
She's 3. How is that? Is it amazing being a grandma?
Absolutely the greatest gift. And I'm so grateful that I'm here and I'm healthy. And it's truly thanks to the YWCA and their programs. It works. They're important to our community.
Here's the thing. Isn't that something? I was looking at the scroll of people giving money, right? And there's a lot of people doing that. There's so many great people I saw Janine Webb's name up there. All these great people in this room who are doing what they can to help. Evans Hunt is up there. Vermilion is up there. All these people that are helping. But what you are doing is telling somebody like you, it's okay.
And I'm worth it. When I went to that class, ladies would knit these Afghans, and it was one of the very first gifts that I ever got from just a complete stranger that said, "You're worth it to me. You're worth it to us."
Isn't that great? Before we let you go, is there anything final you'd like to say? I mean, you've said a lot, but is there anything else you'd like to say to folks here?
I just want to say thank you to my 2 daughters. When you have domestic abuse, I had a choice to leave, but my kids never had a choice. And I just want to thank Courtney and Tanya for the love and the support that they've given me, and they stood beside me no matter what. And thanks to the YWCA, I really appreciate it, and your programs are amazing. And I would not be here today and the successful person that I am without you. Thank you.
That's incredible. Let's hear it for Lynette, everybody. Lynette did not just say, we just have to have scotch together now. But she might have. Isn't she all good? I've said this at a lot of events. The strongest word in the English language is not love. The strongest word in the English language is mom. Because she would go through a brick wall, and she did to get here. And so thank you so much, Lynette, for being part of this. Okay. Here's the thing. Before Erin comes up, we're going to do a live auction. The live auction is going to be really short. There's only 4 items. Here's the thing. I know a lot of folks are here because they want to support the YW, and we should. The YWCA does tremendous things, and we want to support them all we can. You're also here because you want to hear from Erin Brockovich, and that's a wonderful reason to be here. Here's how you can hear her faster. Just an idea. As soon as Bill Brown comes up here to start the auction, if you just say $10 million for everything, right, Bill? Would that work?
Sold.
I knew it. I knew it would work. Bill is going to help us out here. We're going to bring some desserts, help make it fun. He's got a great team. You are helping a lot of people with this live auction, so wave your arms around and just ask the person beside you to pay for it. Would you please welcome the man from Elevate Auctions to help us out, Mr. Bill Brown. Come on up here, Bill.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, before we do start, how about a huge round of applause for our friend Dave Kelly, please. Amazing guy. Okay, we've only got 4 items, ladies and gentlemen, and I certainly, after watching the program and listening You all know why you're here. So I'm just going to sell the items. They're wonderful items. It's a way you get to support the programs of the YWCA, and you're going to get a really great gift in return. So I'm going to move down a bit out of the bright lights because I'm different. Dave's a good-looking guy. I'm not that good-looking. I want to see you. I don't care if you can see me. Anyway, good friend John Murray's here. John's got a lot of energy. John helps with about 120 fundraisers a year. John has a lot of energy also because he has 6-year-old triplets at home. So, John, you do your thing. I'll do mine. Let's have some fun. We've got some spotters in the room. Let's have them wave. All volunteer spotters from YWCA. Give them a round of applause. Let's sell. First item, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be Luxury Shopping Day. It's auction. There's only 4 live auction items, all right? It's a great one, Givenchy. It's all there. I'm not going to read everything, but one thing I am going to read, you're going to get a package that includes a $2,000 Holt Renfrew gift certificate. A personal shopper. I know you've got some Oasis Spa. You've got a whole package right there. Let's sell away. Ladies, gentlemen, just wave your hand to bid. All right, what do you say? All right, here we go. Now, who's got a bid $1 million? All right, what do you say now? Who bid 5,000? Who bid 5,500? Who bid 5,000 where? Who bid 5,500? How about 4,000? At 4, but now 5. At 4, got bid 5,500. And also, if you don't understand what I'm saying, they'll tell you what you paid later. You go home. It's not that big a deal. I got 4,000 bid. Who bid 4,500? At 4, bid 4,500. 4,000. I've got 4 asking for 4,500. At 4,000 bid. Do we hear 4,500? At 4,000. Don't forget, right off the top, 45.5. Right off the top, you have a $2,000 Holt Renfrew gift certificate. 5,000, 55. At 5 bidding, 5,500, 6,000. At 55, bid 6 here. At 6 bid, 65. This is fun. At 6,000, at 6,500. At 85, bidding, thank you. Got a bid 65. I do sell quickly. At 6,000. How about 65? At 6,000 bid, do I hear? At 6,500. At 6,000. This is a different sport. You got. Okay, now 5. At 62, you got a bit of 5, 7.5. At 65, you got to be last to win. At 65, 67.50. At 6,500, thank you. 7.5. And now 7 at 72.50. At 7 bid. What's the difference now? Go ahead. At 7 bid, 72.50. At 7,000, but 72.50. At 7,000, now 75. At 7,500. At 75, thank you. Now 77.50. At 7,500. At 77.50. At 7,500. At 77.50. Now 8,000. At 8,000, now 80. How about 85? At 8,000, what's it? Go ahead. 85. At 8,000, 85, John. At 8,000, 8,500. At 8,000, do I hear 8,500 anywhere? Pretty good trade. A donation, and you get this wonderful gift. At 8,000, John. 8,500, yes. Please. 82.50, 8,500. She's weakening. 82.50, 85. At 85, 87.50. At 8,500. This could take a little longer than I thought. Just kidding. At 85, 85. It's all good. At 8,500, 87.50. At 8,500. Is that 87.50? Oh, 8,500. Was it something you said? At 8,500, 87.50. Sold. $8,500. Give those ladies a big hand. $8,500 donation right there. We got a runner here. $8,500. And we're going to move right along, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to item number 2. Auction item number 2. This is neat. Now, I don't want to say anything. I get to do about 160 of these a year, but Chief Hansen could be a little trouble because this is, I've sold lots of packages. This is the best one ever. The best one ever. So he set the bar a little high. I don't know how we handle that, but what a great donation. And again, folks, for our city police, Chief Hansen's done a wonderful job. How about a big round of applause for the best? Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. This is a true Calgary Police Service training day out. It is for 4. This is for 4 people. You get a half day at the gun range, half day on the driving track. I'd fail the driving track for sure. Yeah, they do, yeah. Yeah, you can't drive with that gun. Ladies and gentlemen, also, when you're all done the training, it will be a really interesting experience. I'm sure there's not many people in the room that have done it, unless they're with the police force. Ladies and gentlemen, you also get to go to a Flames game after and see our Calgary Flames. We're having a wonderful year. Ladies and gentlemen, and also included in the package is a fly-along for one person, obviously, on a Hawks helicopter. That would be really cool. Let's raise some money for YWCA programs. Here we go. We'll put a bit $5,000. We'll put a bit $5,000. Be fair, you be fair. 5,000 where? We'll put a bit $5,000. 6 right there. He's on. 6,000. At 5, but a bit 6 here. 6. At 5,000. 55. 6,000. At 55, but a bit 6, sir. At 55, but a bit 6,000. 65, sir. At 85, but a bit 5, but a bit now 7. At 85, but a bit 7. Got to be 7. I got 65 at the back. 7 in front. At 7,000. At 7, a bit 75, sir. At 7, got a bit 5, but a bit 7,500. 7, 75. I've got 7, need 75. Only 4 items. At 7, 75. At 7, got a bit 5, but a bit 7,500, John. At 7, got a bit 8. At 75, got a bit 8, sir. 8,000. That's 8. Now 85. 8, way out back. 85. On, but 5, but 85. You're out in front. At 8,000. Up to 85. I got 8,000 out back with John. At 8,500. At 8,000 over here. But 85. At 8,000. At 8,500. At 8,000. At 85. 9. No, John. John, my way in front. Got 85, got to be 9. At 85, but a bit 9,000. 85, but a bit 9. At 85, but a bit 9. At 85, but a bit 9. 95. At 9, got a bit 5, but a bit 95. Sir, 95. At 9,000. At 95. At 9, got a bit 5. Now 10. At 95, but a bit 10. 10. And no, just so you know, Hawks will not give you a ride home. At 10,000. At 95, but a bit 10,000. I got 95 at the back, but a bit 10. 10. At 95, sir, in front, but a bit 10. I got 10. Now 5. At 10, got a bit 5, but a bit 10. 5. At 10,000. At 10, 5. At 10,000. At 10, 5. I've got 10. My man's on in front. 10,000. John, gotta go. 10, 5. At 10,000. And a bit 10, 5. 10, 5. Yes. Sold right here. Thank you, sir. Third table in. $10,000 donation. That is phenomenal. Amazing. $10,000. All right, let's do number 3. We're gonna get John all warmed up and we're gonna send him home. Ladies and gentlemen, next package. And again, this is amazing. I'm not going to tell stories because we have a great guest speaker coming up you all want to hear, but I do have to tell you something here. Sheila Kernan. I did not know this until the YWCA sent me the information, and I had to ask. Sheila's grandparents were in my mom and dad's wedding party. I've never met Sheila. I'm from Saskatchewan, but I did go on family holidays. With her dad, her uncle, and her aunt for about 15 years of my life. So I'd love to meet her. I know she's not here, but this is a tremendous item, and it's very interesting. Very well accomplished artist for her age of 31 years old, which is absolutely amazing. She's going to put on a workshop for 12 people. So she'll put on a workshop for 12 people. But to give you an idea, this isn't on the screen, but 31 years old. She's the best new artist, Calgary Stampede Western Showcase. She's represented in 5 of the elite art galleries across Canada at 31 years old. Ladies and gentlemen, she's currently has a solo exhibit at Gibson Fine Art Gallery here in Calgary. She's amazing. If she's anything like her grandparents, she's got to be amazing. They were the neatest, coolest people. Just love them growing up as a little guy in Saskatchewan. So let's sell away. This is for 12 people. It's going to be a great day, ladies and gentlemen. It's in your program. How much can go? Who bit of a 10,000? Who bit of a 10? A 10, a bit of a 10. What a bit of a 10, 10, 10. Who bit of a 7,500? That's 75. You know, I know she'll make it extremely fun, extremely interesting. It's going to be something you remember all your lives. That's cool. That's worth a lot of money. And you're supporting YWCA. We'll put a bit 5,000. We'll put a bit of 5,000. I need 5,000 where? We'll put a bit of 5 at 5,000. We'll put a bit of 5. We'll put 5. We'll put a bit of 5 at 5,000 where? We'll put a bit of 5. Way in the back over there, John got a bit of a 6 at 5. 6,000 at 5,000. What do you bit of a 6 here? At 5,000. What do you bit of a 6,000? 5. I need 6. I've got 5. Got to be 6 at 5,000. At 6,000. At 5,000. What do you bit of a 6 here? You know what? I think the way they bid, I can tell they'd like to pay more, so somebody else bid. At 5,000, 6,000. At 5, but a bit of 6 here. At 5,000. We'll bid a bit of 5,500. At 5,000. We'll bid a bit of 5,500. At 5,000 bid. Who bid a bit of 55? At 5,000 bid. We'll bid 5,500. Well done. I don't want to miss anybody, that's for sure. I've got a $5,000 bid. Do I hear? 5,500. At 5 bid. 5,500. Yes. 5,500. Yes. Sold. Give him a big hand. $5,000. One more item. $5,000, and there we go. All right, next item coming up right now. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Last item is another great one. These are my favorite. People love to get together with friends or family or clients. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is in your own home, which is even better. You don't need a ride home. You're home. Ultimate dinner party. It's for 10 people. It is going to be provided by the renowned chef Grant Perry of Mercado Group. Mercado is great in the community. This will be at your own home. Vandamia, Carlos, I don't know if he's here. Carlos from Vandamia is going to do all of the wine pairings. You just invite your friends, you sit back, you relax, you enjoy a wonderful evening, and know you're supporting YWCA. Ladies and gentlemen, also the host will receive a night away at the Banff Springs Hotel and as a memento a Pandora bracelet. Ladies and gentlemen, let's sell a bit of a 10,000. We'll put it a 10. This is for 10 people. 10 people, wine pairings included from Vandamia. We'll put a bit of 10. 75, 5. We'll put a bit of 5,000. 6. Get 5? We'll put a bit of 5, 5. We'll put a bit of 5, 5,000. We'll put a bit of 5. We'll put a bit of 5, 5. We'll put a bit of 5, get a bit of 5, 5,000. Where? We'll put a bit of 5, 5. At 5,000, get a bit of 5, get a bit of 4. At 4,000. At 4, 5. At 4, get a bit of 5. A goodbye under 7,500. This is goodbye. I got 4,000. I need 5,000. At 4, get a bit of 5, 4, 5. At 4, get a bit of 5, 5,000. Where? Last item. 4, 5. 4,500. At 4,000. How about 45? 4,000 bid. 4,500. At 4,000, got a bit of 5. I need 4,500. Now 5. At 45, got a bit of 5. Mercado. At 45, 5,000. In your home. 45, 5, 55. New lady in. I got 5 in front, John. I need 55. My lady's on in front. At 5,000, 55, 6,000. At 55, but at 6 now. I've got 6. Got to be 6,000. Now 65. At 6,000, got a bit of 5. At 6,000, we're near the end. 6,500. At 65, 7,000. At 775, John. At 7, got a bit of 5. But now 8,000. 75. 8. That's 8, now 85. And he got a bit of 5, got a bit of 5, but he bid 85, John. At 8,000, 8,500. At 8,000, bid John, 85. At 8,000, at 85, at 8,000, 8,500. Yes, all done. 8,500, yes. Oh, why didn't I think of that? 87 and a half, now 9. At 9,000. 87 and a half. John, you're on. 9,000? Yes. 9,000. 87.50. John, you okay? 87 and a half. 9,000? 87. 9. 92.50. Got 3 bidders now. At 9 bid. At 92.50. You're both out. I got John at 9. 92.50. At 9,000 bid. But he bid 92.50. At 9,000. 92.50. At 9 bid. Way in the back's on. 9 bid. 92.50. 92.50. Sold. $9,000. Give all the ladies a big hand. 3 different bidders. That's fantastic. $9,000. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the live auction. Thank you to all of you for what you do. Enjoy your night and God bless. Thank you.
That's Bill Brown, everybody. Can we hear it for Bill and John? You know, Bill Brown also sings with the Proclaimers. I don't know if you knew that. He has that one song about how far he would walk. It's a bit of 5,000 miles, I believe. Okay, I just wrote that joke like right there, so I don't have much time to polish it. Also, I noticed on the screens, Sam Switzer donated $50,000. Sam Switzer, can we thank him? One of the great leaders in our community. Before we bring, I realize I have to do something disruptive, so I'm going to do it now before I bring the person who's going to bring Erin Brockovich up, because I want her to have you guys focused. One of the things, and I don't know who they hired for an MC, but he did forget to mention that some of you, this is kind of the Oprah moment, one of you is going to talk slowly. You may be one of 50 lucky guests brought to you by, with a gift card from Bochi, donated by the Mercado Group, to find a gift certificate under your side plate. Have a look and see if you have a gift certificate. Did someone get one? Look at that. Can we thank the Mercado Group again for their great work in donating that? Okay. Are we ready? No, I'm serious, folks. Are we ready? Are you here and are ready for the person we're all here for? Well, here's the thing. One of the great companies that help our title sponsor, our presenting sponsor tonight is Enbridge. And so we said to them, we don't want to introduce Erin Brockovich. We think if you're the one that did so much great help sponsoring and caring about the YWCA to come here and do this, you should be the ones that get to introduce Erin Brockovich. So Would you please welcome the Senior Vice President, Enterprise Safety and Operational Reliability from Enbridge, Cynthia Hansen. Come on up here, Cynthia.
Good evening. Thank you, Dave, and thank you to everyone here tonight for supporting the YWCA YWHISPER Fundraising Gala. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank Lynette again for so courageously sharing her story with us. So Enbridge is very proud to partner with and sponsor the YWCA and the important work it does in the Calgary community to empower women to build strong and vibrant lives. The YWCA gives a voice to women from all walks of life, building resiliency and positive change in our society. At Enbridge, we fuel people's quality of life by safely and reliably delivering the energy that powers our daily lives. We've always known that what we do at Enbridge, delivering energy, is not as important as how we do it. Our values of integrity, safety, and respect drive our actions and our decisions. We have tens of thousands of neighbors living near our pipelines and renewable power generation facilities across North America. Not to mention the millions of people who count on us for the energy that heats their homes and powers their lives. So we must be a good, safe, and reliable neighbor. And it's something we strive to be every day, and it's why we work with organizations like the YWCA. So life takes energy, and if there's a person who is a role model for living a life with energy, it's our keynote speaker tonight, Erin Brockovich. So Erin Brockovich is a name that's synonymous with speaking up and speaking out. She has made her name fighting and advocating for the vulnerable. Her story is one of a single mother finding her voice when most needed and continuing to help others through her advocacy. Ms. Brockovich is an American legal clerk and environmental activist who, despite having no formal education in the law, in 1993 was instrumental in building a case against Pacific Gas and Electric Company of California. This was a story that was made into an Oscar-winning movie starring Julia Roberts as Erin. Since the release of the film that shares her story and name, she has hosted Challenge America with Erin Brockovich on ABC and Final Justice on Zone Reality. She is the president of Brockovich Research and Consulting, a consulting firm, and now works as a consultant for Girardi and Keys, the New York law firm of Wirtz and Luxembourg and Shine Lawyers in Australia. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the stage Ms. Erin Brockovich.
Oh my gosh, good evening. It is so awesome to be here. I'm a little overwhelmed. Look at all of you. What an incredible representation and a model for wonderful human beings, standing up for others, taking the back of your community, and coming together and being united. You've made an incredible difference for the YWCA, for those that they help, women and children, and I have to tell you, I hope you're damn proud of yourself because I am of you, and you deserve a huge round of applause. You really do. I'm very, very moved, and if anything could be a model to the rest of the world of how to get things done, I think tonight is really a very good beginning. It's a privilege to be here and meet everybody in Calgary. What a beautiful city. Cynthia from Enbridge, I would like to thank you for that introduction. When they told me you were going to do that, I was like, oh my gosh, I hope she doesn't jump off a building, because everyone thinks, you know, Erin and a company don't get along. Actually, nothing could be further from the truth. I am a huge advocate and I am a huge supporter of companies who come in and understand that the community is their neighbor, and through respect and integrity, they can begin to build a strong relationship of trust. You need each other, you depend on each other, and so I want you to know that I will always support companies and communities coming together to do the right thing to make a difference for all. So thank you for the introduction. Thank you to the YWCA. Lynette, thank you for coming up and sharing your story. And it is just such a privilege for me to be here tonight. So let me begin with this. Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you don't already know, I'm Erin Brockovich, not Julia Roberts. I gotta be honest. See, I had no idea this would be so confusing to so many people after all of these years. It is just still downright weird when I go into a store, they ask to see my ID, they take a look at it, and they go, oh, you're Erin Brockovich. That's the name of a film. I'm like, yes, it is, and I'm the real person. They're like, no. Julia Roberts played in that. I'm like, yeah, I know, she played me. No. I mean, they're like, there is not a real Erin Brockovich. It was the name of a film. I'm like, okay, yeah, well, believe what you want, fine, have a good day. I could stand up here all night and share stories with you about the strange things that have happened to me since that film came out. I'll never forget one of the very first things someone said to me. You're all familiar with Suzanne Summers, aren't you? Yeah, okay. So somebody came running up to me and said, oh my God, I love your film, and I use your Thigh Master all the time. Wrong girl. Oh, but okay. I like that Thigh Master too. One of my favorites is I was in the restroom, and you know, ladies were in there doing her hair and stuff. You wash hands, you exchange glances. This woman looked at me, she goes, did anyone ever tell you you look like Erin Brockovich? I was like, nope, but I get Julia Roberts all the time. And she was like, okay. Anyway, I could tell you so many stories, but we don't have enough time. It has been a very interesting, rewarding, and yet sometimes very crazy experience for me after all of these years. And I just want to share with you, the film was accurate. Unfortunately, what happened to those people really happened. And we continue to see countless communities and families in need today from pollution issues. I will share a few things about the film with you, and because people ask. First of all, ladies, I want you to know, no, I did not marry the biker dude. Everybody always asks me that, but let me say this about that. Had the real biker dude looked anything like the guy in that film, yeah, I would have never kicked him out. I'm telling you, he was a cutie. The movie actually started with a girlfriend of mine by the name of Pam Dumond. I really had a car wreck. I had a C5, C6 disectomy. Every time I was on her table and she was doing chiropractic work and cranial work, she would always ask me what was going on in my life. I would share stories with her about what was happening out in Hinckley and the biker dude and the kids and everything. I had absolutely no idea that she was good friends with Danny DeVito's partner at Jersey Films. So she said, I've been sharing all your stories. And I was like, really? I didn't know she was doing that. I still see Pam today. And so she's like working away on me. And she's like, so what's new? I'm like, nothing. Absolutely nothing. So But long story short, I met Carla, and I met Danny DeVito, and how it happened, I don't know, but they made a film about it. Ed Masry, oh my gosh, you remember Albert Finney? He played an incredible job. We lost Mr. Masry in 2005. He was the best friend and one of the greatest human beings I've ever known, next to my father. And Ed used to ask me before the movie came out, he teased me, he goes, you know what, kid, if they really make this movie, who do you think should play you? And I was like, Ed, I have no idea. I really, this is so overwhelming, I really never stopped to think about it. First of all, I really never thought it would happen. And I said, I don't know, Ed, maybe somebody fun like Goldie Hawn, because I'm a lot more fun than people realize. I am. And so Ed goes, well, yeah, no, I don't see Goldie Hawn. I said, really, Ed, who do you envision? He goes, somebody like Roseanne Barr. I'm like, really, Ed? Fuck you. Honestly. I can't believe he said that to me, but he did. He went on to say, however, and the truth is this, I don't care who it is, Erin, as long as it's not Julia Roberts. True story. So the day they called and told me they'd cast the role, it was Julia Roberts. I was like, oh my God, I could not dial the phone fast enough to get a hold of Ed. I was like, neener, 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 guess who it is? So he did not want Julia Roberts. He said her mouth was not foul enough and her boobs were not big enough and it was never gonna happen. So anyway, I think she did a great job. I do appreciate you letting me drop the F-bomb. I love that about the Canadians. You just like get it and what that word means. We're kindred spirits that way. But by the way, I will tell you, if you do not know, I'm actually French Canadian. So my maiden name is Pat T, and my family migrated to Canada and then down. So I'm French Canadian. See, so we get along. You understand. We understand each other. Okay, what I'd really like to share with you tonight is how through my own struggles, and I have absolutely had them, I was able to transform myself, begin to believe in the power of myself, and most important, begin to learn to trust myself and the decisions that I was making. And let's be honest, transformation is not a one-time process. Our lives are constantly changing. They are constantly evolving. And it is during our most challenging times that we're going to have to take a deep inner look, find our deep inner strength that can help us move forward into new ways, better ways, healthier ways, and make us happier and healthier people. I've gone through very difficult times, and I was so blessed to have incredible support from my mother and my father. And for those that need help in moving forward, who've lost their way temporarily, it's really nice to have the YWCA, and it's really nice to have a community like all of you here tonight to be the support and to be the foundation to help those get on and have a better life. So again, I was overwhelmed tonight, and thank you for what you've done to help so many others. It was my mom and my dad, just like you, that give us a foundation so we can go forward. I spend a good deal of my time researching and meeting with communities and listening to what it is that they need and observing what is going on around them. It has been during the course of these years, and my gosh, so much time has passed. I have 2 grandbabies now. I cannot believe that. I feel like a baby when I started Hinckley myself, and I'm old. This is bullshit. I'm really having a hard time with this one. No, I'm telling you, I'm happy to be 54 years old, and I feel better today than I did back then. So it's all good. But it's been during the course of my life, I've grown, I've learned a lot, and I've created a program that I'll share with you here shortly that I call RAM, which helped me continue on even during the worst of times. But for just a moment, I would like to talk to you about leadership and what it means. If you look at leadership qualities, you could go to the Webster's Dictionary and read the definition of leadership. I don't know, it's pretty boring, but maybe that's what we think a leader is supposed to be. But I look for characteristics in a leader. It's integrity and trust. It's determination. It's respect. It's stick-to-itiveness. It's passion. It's honesty. Leadership is something every one of you has exhibited tonight in this room that you are. But every day we don't always wake up and believe that we are a leader. We don't see ourselves as that person. We think it's somebody else or an agency is going to lead us to a safe place. And they are there for that very reason. But what I want you to look at is that you individually is that leader, day by day, instinctually. Think about it. Mothers, every single day, lead their children. Teachers lead their students. Government is here to lead us. Managers, CEOs of their teams. But have you ever really stopped to think and thought about what a leader means? As I said, you could read the definition, it would be boring. But leadership is who we are. Leadership is who every one of you are. You do it every single day, yet you don't think about it. And it's not just something that the privileged are here to experience. Every day, every human being has the choice and can exhibit leadership. It embodies who we are, our integrity, our honesty, our passion, our respect, and this empowers us not only to want to lead into something big, like becoming the President of the United States or a CEO, but it empowers us to lead in our everyday lives so that we, as individuals, are happier with ourselves and more in control of our life and our work. Leadership in the morning, it's a gut check that we need to do, no matter what our profession is. Everything we do in life requires us to have strong character. Strong character. That is the base and the foundation from which we live and work. And your strength of character doesn't come from winning. We think it does, but I don't believe that. Your strength of character is developed during the worst of times and the hardships that you've seen. But when you stay true to your course, your willingness to help guide another, and you never give up, no matter how hard it may seem, that is strength. That is a leader. That is every one of you in this room tonight, and you exhibit it. You are leaders of this community. So, thank you to you. All of this is going to bring me to two very pivotal moments in my life, which I want to share with you. I didn't see this at the time because of my youth, but characteristics and leadership skills were being offered to me by my family even then. I just didn't know it. My most valuable lessons were offered up from none other, as I said earlier, than my mother and my father. Growing up for me in Lawrence, Kansas was easy and it was fun. I had stability of my family, but I was very frustrated, more often than not, because of a little program called school. Not my thing. Why? I'm a dyslexic. Learning for me was difficult. And I never thought that there was just one way of learning. And when a mind becomes unlocked, the ideas and what you can do are absolutely incredible. My mom was my savior this way. She was a journalist and a sociology major, and she was never about to let me get down in my dumps. She knew that I was learning, but she knew I wasn't learning the way a teacher wanted me to, or necessarily a standard of conformance. I remember coming home from school so often and feeling dejected because once again I had another D on a report card. I failed another class. And on this particular day I was home crying. My mom asked me what was wrong and I told her. And she looked at me a little perplexed, and she says, "Oh, Erin, where's your stick-to-itiveness?" I don't know. What does that word mean? Look, I'm from Kansas. We have a lot of slang words like cattywampus and slaunchwise. I thought my mom was making up some flippin' word. So I just looked at her. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I thought perhaps, like I said, she had made it up. But she was frustrating me. I said, "Mom, stop with your words. You made them up. Leave me alone. I'm feeling bad enough." She says, "Okay." So she left, and I'm like, thank God. Sure enough, she came back with the Webster's Dictionary. She says, "Erin, let me read you the definition of stick-to-itiveness." I shouldn't have challenged her. Again, she has great command of the English language. She's a journalist. She's a sociology major. So I brought this on myself. So she brought out the Webster's Dictionary and read me the definition. Stick-to-itiveness, propensity to follow through in a determined manner, dogged persistence born of obligation and stubbornness. I'm like, well, that's all you had to say. I'm dogged, I'm persistent, stubborn is my middle name. I finally got it. Stick-to-itiveness. I wish she had just told me this in the first place. We all have to have stick-to-itiveness. And it works. I became the little engine that could. And as stupid as that sounds, that's exactly what I started doing. I think I can, I know I can, I know I can. Even to this day, and my mother has passed away, there's days, and there will always be days for us when we get up and we think we can't do it. And I can hear her voice. "You've got to have stick-to-itiveness, Erin." I'm like, ooh. But I am here to tell you, when applied, it works. But you have to remember, there's a trick. We weren't born with stick-to-itiveness. You have to develop the habit of persevering even when you don't want to, and it would be easier for you to give up. Life requires that you have stick-to-itiveness. The other person that made such a difference in my life was my father, Frank. He was an engineer. He was instrumental to me in my life and my work. My father worked for industry. He had honor. He had integrity. He had loyalty. He had respect. He always taught me, do what you like, Erin, and you will succeed. The one thing that sticks out so clearly in my mind about my father was my lessons about honesty. In the work that I'm involved in, I will tell you, it is deception that destroys everything. I am sure for some women here tonight and those that work at the YWCA, you can clearly see a secret and how it can destroy a life. My father taught me the value of honesty. From the moment I became involved in my work out in that small desert town, I had that gut feeling that somebody knew something somewhere and they weren't saying anything. I couldn't necessarily put my finger on it at first, but it was really bothering me. It was eating at me. All my natural instincts started to kick in. My heart, my gut, they were telling me something wasn't right. And we've all been here before, and I want to talk about this for a minute, the importance of your instincts. Every single one of us, every mother in this room, you've got that gut feeling when one of your kids is lying to you, right? Are you wrong? No. My common sense, those instincts saved me in many instances. Like I said, I grew up in Lawrence, Kansas. I knew, I could feel when a tornado was coming. I could clearly see the sky turning black. I could hear the sirens. It's not like when one was coming, I stopped to call a scientist to find out if it was an F5 or an F2 coming at me. My instincts told me to run. Think about that if your headlines read that your municipality was tainted with arsenic. You're going to call your nearest neighbor to find out if it's 0.2 parts per billion or 5 parts per billion, or does something about your instincts and your common sense tell you don't drink that water? And all of these instincts were coming into play for me in my workout in Hinckley. I couldn't see it in front of me at the time, but I knew it was there. What I could see is the trees were dying, people were sick, animals were dying, frogs that were supposed to be flourishing in the water were dying as they jumped in the water. Again, it took nothing more than a human element to take a look around you and go, this possibly cannot be the standard. Something is not wrong. So I began to use my stick-to-itiveness that my mother taught me. I took a lead because I believed in integrity and the respect that that community needed. I believed in our environment, and I was passionate about where I was headed. So driving home one night, again, I kept thinking over and over and over and over in my head why the idea of a lie was bothering me so bad. Because after all, listen, I'm not perfect. I've told a lie. And that's when I remembered telling a lie to my father when I was in high school. Now, I had gotten in trouble, and I knew he'd written me a letter. Something had gone on in this situation that I had saved a letter from my dad about telling a lie. When I got home that night, I went and I looked it up, and I cannot believe it. Some 20 years later, I still had that letter. I read it everywhere I go, and I'm going to read it to you now. And very quickly, I'm going to share with you, there's a story that goes along with it. Okay, it's kind of embarrassing. All right, I was in high school, and I had decided the night before with my girlfriends that I was going to skip school for the day. We were going to go out to Lone Star Lake and party with the boys. I had everything planned out. Now, the next morning, my mother, who must have had radar, eyes in the back of her head, I don't know, she knew I was up to something. And so she stuck around and said, you know, honey, it's getting kind of late. I'm going to go ahead and take you to school. I was screwed. I couldn't just go, well, I got plans. My friends are picking me up. Run along on your way. She said, get in the car. I'm like, So I had to get in the car. She dropped me off. I went into high school, came back to make sure she'd gone up the hill to work. Then I ran around and got one of my girlfriends out of class to take me back to my parents' house because I needed to get my clothes and bathing suit so I could follow through with my plans. She took off. My friends never came to pick me up. This day, I still don't know what the hell happened to them, but they weren't there. So I called somebody else to come get me, and they arrived. I walked out the front door, and I'm like, wait a minute. If my friends show up, they won't know where I'm at. So let me get out a pen and a paper. I'm serious. You laugh at me. You don't think I'm so smart after I tell you this story. I can't believe I did it. I wrote down whose house I was at, address, telephone numbers, and I drew a little map with directions on how to get there. And I scotch taped it to the front door. Why? The one time my mother comes home for lunch that day, she's going out to get the mail. She comes back, she's like, ooh, what's this? Now, mind you, I'm gone. I'm long gone. I was at my friend's house, we were partying, the music was going, see, the doorbell rang, and I'm like, I'm pretty smart because I left a note. They found me. I think I had a 12-pack tucked under my armpit, and I opened up the front door, and there stood my mother. I was like, what are you doing here? She goes, well, honey, you left me directions. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about the note on the door. Jim, do you think I told her the truth? Nope. Do you think she ran home and told my dad? Yep. Do you think when I got home that night, I told my dad the truth? Nope. He says, Erin, how was your day? I goes, pretty good, Dad. What'd you do at school? I'm like, I had an English test. He goes, you did? I'm like, He goes, you be telling me the truth, right? I'm like, So anyway, of course I lied, and I got in huge trouble. My father grounded me for an entire school semester, and boy howdy, when this man said something, talk about somebody with stick-to-itiveness, that would be my father. I was grounded for the whole stinking semester. I had no privileges, no dating privileges, no car privileges, no telephone privileges, nothing. He took it all away. It was torture. It was like being in prison. I also had a huge trip planned to Chicago, Illinois, and he took that trip away from me as well. I was absolutely devastated. The next day, after my punishment had been rendered, my dad left town. And while he was gone, he wrote me this following letter. I didn't get it until I had children of my own, and I began my work in Hinckley, California. So my dad wrote to me, "Dear Erin, riding up to Lincoln, Nebraska this morning, I read the enclosed in the morning Kansas City newspaper. He sent me an article on Jimmy Carter and the issues of lying." So you see, this issue is very important to even the President of the United States. It shouldn't be any less important to you and me. I know last night tore you up, it did me too. But we are dealing here with a very basic principle, and you are old enough to understand it. That is, if you, your brothers and sister, your mother and I cannot freely and honestly communicate with each other and believe what we are saying and hearing, then we have lost everything. To do otherwise tears up the very fabric of our family, which until you start your own, is the finest possession you will have on this earth. Someday you and I will look back on last night and laugh and kid about it. I know, for I used to do the same thing with my parents, as I too used to get into trouble with them now and then. I'll have to tell you about that someday. The thing to do now is to accept your punishment like an adult and resolve to yourself that it will never happen again. There are many trips ahead of you, and most of them will be more fun than the one to Chicago. So the loss is not that great. The loss of our respect for each other would be much, much greater. Remember your mother and I love you very much, and we want you to develop into an admired, honest, and respected woman. Together, Erin, we could be assured that that will be accomplished. I love you, Dad. I don't think I understood this when I was a child, or a teenager, or a young adult. I didn't get his message, but I will tell you today at 54 years old, having raised 3 kids, becoming a grandmother, spending countless times with people and communities that have been harmed, I see more clearly than I ever have before. It is my dad's very parting words before he left this planet, and it is about our respect for each other, and it's been lost. It is about the importance of honesty and communication, and that a lie and a deception can devastate not many, but us all. It's really time, and I believe that we are at a turning point globally where we must get back to that mutual respect. We must get back to integrity. We must get back to preserving the health and the welfare of our environment, our neighbors, our family, and ourselves. And my father left a lasting impact on me for that very reason. As you all know, a lifetime has come and gone, and it goes by so quickly. As I said, I've lost both my parents, numerous dear friends, including the attorney Ed Masry and the biker dude George. My son and my daughter and my son-in-law have all served in the military. By the grace of God, I've got my son home safe and sound. And I continue to grow every day and learn new lessons every day. And I really see clearly now. And I realize it is the values, it's the lessons that I was taught that became the cement, the strength of my foundation from which I could live and work. And that's what inspired me to create a program called RAM. In closing, I'd like to share it with you. RAM, by definition, means to do or achieve by pushing obstacles out of one's way. And oftentimes, we don't see it. Maybe we don't want to see it, or we don't want to admit it. But more often than not, the obstacle standing in front of you is you. See, the key to survival isn't about blaming others. It isn't about finger pointing, but rather by taking a look at yourself and looking within. Look into your own heart, your own gut, your own mind. What determination do you have, and what is your perception of yourself? Every morning, I encourage you to be the RAM. R is for realization, the epiphany, the inspiration, the moment when you wake up and realize that everything in life begins with you. You are the seed. Your choices, your decisions, your perception of yourself, your actions, and your reaction to what is happening in your life and what's happening around you. You have to realize who it is you are and harness the power of yourself before you can begin to manage the life you have. I've said it often, and I'll continue to say it. I've been down on my luck. I've made plenty of mistakes, and oftentimes it was easier for me to blame someone else or to look to someone else to fix a problem for me. What the truth is, what the truth was, is that I have only myself to look to and to be accountable for the choices and the decisions that I make. Once I was able to look at myself in the mirror and embrace who I was, good and bad, and forgave myself for my shortcomings, chose to change my perception of myself, and to choose not to see my glass as half empty, but to see it as half full, that I could have a cup that too would spilleth over. I suddenly became empowered, and I mean empowered, by my own feeling of taking responsibility for myself and for my actions. I was all abuzz with emotions because of believing that I, in fact, in the face of adversity, could stand up, could do something, chose to say something when I saw something, and accepted that I was not perfect and find forgiveness in myself. Oftentimes, we're angry at ourselves, and we have to learn to forgive ourselves and our shortcomings. Many times, I was standing in my own way, and I had to learn how to get out of my own way, to not be afraid to realize that I was strong and flawed at the same time. I could say something, I could get behind my decisions, my principles, and I didn't need anyone else to do that for me. So starting today, starting tomorrow, don't be afraid to look in the mirror and be your own hero. You stand tonight on your own 2 feet. You're here and made a difference for others, your community. You were accountable. You took responsibility. It's obvious that you like and believe in who you are. We are never so young, we are never so old, that we are exempt from learning and growing and accepting ourselves, the one person we most oftentimes overlook. A is for assessment. It's a process of looking at and taking stock, not in what you have, but taking stock in who you are. Your character, your skills, your attributes. Assessments, they're not about appraisals of our homes. Assessments should be about the appraisals of one's self. Assess your skills. Look at your choices, your decisions. Reevaluate your attitudes and belief. And if you don't like what you see or you don't like what you're going, well, then don't be afraid to fix it. Give yourself an appraisal today. If it comes in low, then make the necessary changes and appraise yourself again tomorrow. Remember this, with improvements, your value and your perception of yourself will only go up. M, it's about motivation. So let me ask you, what is the difference between talent and ability? It's your motivation. We all know somebody who is very talented but unsuccessful because they lack motivation. And there are plenty of untalented people who are successful. Why? Because they were motivated. They were determined. They were persistent. They never gave up. To find yourself, you have to be motivated. And to stay motivated, you have to have time for self-renewal. And that's something that we miss. Motivation requires constant positive thinking. And I understand just how easy it is to lose your mojo. We are all getting sucked into life, family, and work. There's less and less time and less energy in an ever-changing and very hectic world that we live in. We too need fuel to help inspire us that will keep us going. It's as simple as if you don't water the plants, they won't grow. Find a way today and every day to fit inspiration into your life. Make time for free time. Go play a round of golf. Go to the spa. Plant some flowers. Stop and smell the roses. Literally. Think about it. When's the last time you stopped and smelled the roses? Be in the moment. The past is gone, and we can learn from it. The future, even though it's not here, we cannot forget what we have today. Stop. Enjoy what you've done here tonight. Feel the warmth of the sun on your face tomorrow. Pay someone a compliment. Do something for yourself. Just notice the smell around you. Fresh cut grass, rain, snowfall. Notice your own breath. See, I believe every day the world around you is speaking to you, and it can and it will inspire you, and you can be motivated. You need to take time for self-renewal, and if for one moment you will stop and take the time to notice, you will realize it is in that very place that you have found your own voice, you will find your own path, and you will find the motivation that keeps you moving forward into a bright tomorrow. I'm hoping that tonight, some of what I've said, shared with you, may have reminded you of your own life and turmoils and empowerment and how great it really is. And that when life throws you a curveball, and I promise you that it will, you have to get back up on your feet. You have to keep moving forward. You have to keep some skin in the game. Remember, none of us have to go it alone. So embrace those around you. Be united. Work as a team. Work as a community. Muster up your courage and be honest, even when you make a mistake. Find your stick-to-itiveness. As I said, put your foot on the ground, keep some skin in the game, and when you lose your mojo, stop, breathe, reboot, and go at it again tomorrow. There will always be days when you feel like you are at the bottom of the barrel. Don't stop right before you get to the top. Keep moving, be proactive, be involved. Live within your heart, your head, and your soul. And when you do, I will guarantee you this. You will discover there is no obstacle you cannot surmount, there is no challenge you cannot meet, and there is no fear you cannot conquer, no matter how impossible it may seem. In closing, I leave you with this. What lies behind us and what lies before us are very tiny matters compared to what lies within us. Ralph Waldo Emerson. I said it in the beginning, I'm going to say it in closing. I couldn't be more proud of this community and every single person in this room. I wish you all the best in your life and best in your journey. Stand strong. I'm behind you. You're behind each other. God bless you. I love you very much. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you. There's my water. Oh, hi. You're coming up.
That's Erin Brockovich, everybody.
I was looking for some water. Thank you very much.
Put it right there. Can you come sit for a sec? Come sit in the middle
Yes.
seat. We have a
Thank
bring
you,
your
guys.
wives.
Very, very nice. Thank you. Really nice. Boy, I was looking for this.
That was unbelievable. Thanks so much. We're just going to take 2 minutes to have a quick conversation with you. Is that okay?
Yes, of course.
Well, here's the thing.
Haven't you heard enough from me?
I'm
yet?
listening to you, and you're all like, you got to forgive yourself. And I'm thinking, you had Julia Roberts do a movie about you. You got 2 kids. You got a grandkid. What the hell do you ever have to forgive yourself for?
Because I'm human and I've made plenty of mistakes. Ask my kids to come up here. They'll tell you. Oh, let me tell you what she did this day.
When you talk about forgiving yourself, though, being positive seems hard to do. In my head, I think that's not easy. Is it something you work at every day?
Yes, you have to. Just like stick-to-itiveness, you have to develop the habit of persevering even when you don't want to. You have to develop the habit of being positive. It's actually kind of difficult sometimes, but we are our own worst offender. We pick on ourselves, and I don't know that we even realize we're doing it. But, I just try to do something positive, a little sticky note on the bathroom mirror, in the car, picking a book up, because it just springs a thought, and positive just starts to generate positive. And it's amazing when you change your attitude that way, how things change around you.
Can we bring up a man who's been working for 40 years, working in this community, working for the most vulnerable with the communities to make sure they do well, the honorary chair tonight, Police Chief Rick Hansen. Rick, can you come on up here for just a second? I asked the chief just to help make this tonight especially festive if he'd blam off a couple of rounds with his gun, but he said he wouldn't do that. So. I thought that would make it. You won't. It's off. It would be very entertaining if you would do it, but to know.
It would.
I always wanted to see the inside of a jail.
So we have a couple of questions that staff people and clients of the YWCA, if you could ask you two anything, what would you like to ask them? So thank them for their entries. They have 2 questions. Resilience is a word used a great deal at the YWCA. I think you called it stick-to-itiveness, referring to clients and staff alike. Can you share with us an incident or experience that fostered your resiliency during difficult times? I'll let you start, Chief.
Yeah, because I think I've kind of shared that one.
Well, after listening to both of those presentations today, I got to tell you, it was awesome. I was blown away. And I can tell you this about resilience. We're all tested in small ways, right from the time we're kids. And that's how we build resilience. I mean, that's what we do. And as you grow up, you're tested in small ways. But after listening to Lynette and Erin tonight, and having spent a career where I've seen everybody from 7-year-old kids who have been sexually abused and they battle through it. 11-year-old kids who are basically the man of the house, as the, mom is in bed with a mental illness, no dad, all that kind of stuff. You realize that what you think is resilience in yourself is only preparing you for the big test, because it's only people like Lynette, people like Erin, people who in this room have had to deal with situations that truly test whether you have the capacity to be resilient enough to overcome life's biggest challenges. I've never, thank God, had to deal with the loss of a kid by an impaired driver. I've never had to deal with any severe illnesses with my kids. But what I do know is that there's thousands of women in this city who have immense courage, because they're the ones that battle through situations like Lynette, that are where there are no self-esteem, no support system, some of them. And if it wasn't for agencies like the YWCA to be there, that one hope, they would never make it. So none of us, I don't think, know what it's like to actually test their resilience unless they've gone through situations like you've learned here tonight. So I can't personally say, hey, what I've done, it's pretty minor, because I'm in awe of those who I've seen and listened to tonight, but seen over my career. and who people in the Y know exactly what the YW know exactly what I'm talking about. They're the ones that have been tested. So that's where the inspiration comes to me, to watch them and say, wow, that's pretty incredible. And I can only hope that when it's my turn, that I have as much courage and the resilience that they've demonstrated.
It's, we're lucky to have our mayor and we're lucky to have our police chief, don't you think? Can you, this is another one that came, Erin, and maybe you can start on this one. In each of your roles, how do you support vulnerable women in your communities? Talk a bit about vulnerable women, whatever that means to you, Erin.
Charity organizations, spending time with them. I think that was one of the biggest gifts that we can give for vulnerable women, and that's just listen. You know, I've learned that working with them, working with vulnerable women in my communities, not always in a domestic violence situation, but where we have medical issues, they're not being heard, they become vulnerable, their health has been impacted, they're not being able to take care of their children, is to just listen. You know, oftentimes we think we have to fix it, but what they need is just to be heard and to understand and to support and be there for them. And I have learned in my own community by just spending the time to, you know, to just stop and listen to what it is they have to say, not try to fix it, not try to strange it, not try to give excuses for it, just hear them. They just need to have their voice heard, and then be able to help them find YWCA or other local places where we can begin to help them. And so that's what I have learned is one of the most important things that we can do. And I deal with tens of thousands of women sometimes on a daily basis, is they just need to have that voice heard, and they just need to say it. And that helps greatly. So that's what I do at home. Just there's different local agencies that I do, even going down to shelters and helping with clothes, donating clothes, coming in, speaking to them, working with them, going to schools, working with teenagers. It's very interesting that I've learned, you know, in high school situations, abuse can start very early on, and they don't always recognize it. Right. And it can carry them around, and they carry it around with them, working with high school girls and trying to educate.
Chief, what's your sense?
You know, there's not much to add to that. I think that the important thing, I think the next biggest step is recognizing, and we talk about it all the time, we had breakfast with the boys this week, it's recognizing the courage it takes for somebody in an abusive situation to take that step and reach out to somebody. And too often, the person that gets reached out to doesn't recognize that this may be the first time and maybe the only time that that hand comes out. And people have to realize, don't judge, don't give advice, take the hand and get them to somewhere where they need help, where they can get help, I should say. And I can tell you that that's one of the saddest things, you know, that I've seen over my career is when there has been that courageous step forward and somebody has said, you know what, just go home and work it out. Well, you know, you can't do that. Right. You've got to recognize it for what it is, because it's a hugely courageous step. And for the men in the room, you know, the challenge for men is to recognize that there's a huge role to play for all of us in modeling for our daughters. I mean, listen to what Erin said about her dad, and not be that guy that's in the hockey dressing room when somebody starts talking about how he stuck it to his ex and is bouncing the support payment check this month just to screw her around. Not to be the guy that laughs, but to be the guy that stands up and says, you know what, you're just an idiot. Because you know what, it's only when that voice is heard that whole social change starts to happen.
I was thinking, listening to both of you, and Sue Tomini was talking about the work the Y does, and there's 4 areas that she mentioned especially, right? When it comes to women and vulnerable women, poverty is one, homelessness is another, abuse, and the 4th one is exclusion. And you think exclusion sounds really head trippy in a way, but I realize it kind of is everything. It's the one that says whatever you're dealing with, you're not part of us. Whatever your problem is, that's your problem. You have to stay out there. There's a door between us and whatever that person is out there. And I think sometimes you need the Erin Brockovich who says, door, yeah, watch this. I'll just kick it down. And then you do that, and then people go in, and it's important.
Yeah, watch this. Go fuck yourself. I mean, that's what I'm teasing. No.
I didn't want to say it quite that way, but I was thinking it.
Come on.
But it's also the ability to open the door and, like you say, just come in. Just come in. It's going to be okay, and we'll figure that out here. There's a lot of ways that you can help people, isn't there? Unless you want to do the same thing she did, which would be kind of awesome, wouldn't it?
I don't talk to these guys that way, though. I don't. No. I always say that jokingly. I mean, I know people see little clips from the film, and you just think I bust into some courtroom and start blurting that out. Nothing could be further from the truth. It's just timing. But respect is so important, and I do understand. I felt that way. I can't compare my feelings of being a dyslexic to a woman who's been abused, and there is no comparison. But the exclusion is very true because, see, I was different, and what I've learned is just because I'm different doesn't make me inferior. And so a lot of times women, when they are in that position, they'll step back, and then it just starts getting worse and worse. And so I can understand when a woman's in that place and how difficult it is to come forward. And they do. They have great, great courage to do that. And it's steps, and they need support of their community, YWCA, and know that we are there for them, and they'll come around and start to move forward in a productive, healthy way.
It's wonderful. Okay, can I be totally selfish with my final question? Because we've asked their questions. I'm going to be completely selfish, and you can both answer. So I have a daughter who's 2, and I have a son who's 3. He's going to be 4 in January, so they're young. And I bug everybody I know about this who are parents. You talked so amazingly about your parents. So and you talked about being a dad, and what is that role? What is the role of men in a situation that's where there are vulnerable people, especially vulnerable women? What would you say, Dave, if you're going to do one thing as a dad, this is what I learned from my dad, do this?
Well, what really oh man, see, my dad was he was perfect. He was kind. He was, be kind. We have to be thoughtful and stoic and strong all at the same time. The girls need boundaries, and it's hard, and they'll fight you on that, but that's the one thing that I always got from my dad. You can go so far, but here's where we're going to stop. And that's the way it is. And I always found that comforting. And he just had principles and loyal and respectful, integrity. He said what he meant. He followed through. But yet he did it all without putting me down and being kind and just being this strong, silent force that I absolutely knew under the worst of circumstance or any circumstance that he would, in fact, be there for me. So always leave that door open to your girls. Speak softly. Carry a meaningful stick. Have boundaries. Always love. And I think the most important thing is to always get them to tell you the truth. Honesty is the only way to go, and that will come from love and trust.
That's great. Rick?
That's a tough one, huh?
Well, no, I just never want to come after you ever again in my life, okay? You know what? I guess if I was to give any advice, I would say this, and that is, act like the man you tell your kids that you are, because nothing.
Yeah, that was good. I like that one. That was good.
Oh, your dad was. Because you know what I mean. Kids are so smart, and they get it, you know. And They hear words, and words after they turn 6 are just words. But what they see you do, they remember forever. Forever. And I think that's it. And that story about your dad was amazing. That letter was amazing. And I suspect that was your dad. That was truly your dad. And what he did and how he acted was what you saw, was what you remember to this day. I mean, here you are, you know.
Old.
Well, you know what, I think, again, you know, speaking for the dads in the room, I can only hope that years from now, my youngish looking daughter is standing up in front of a group of people saying that this is a story about my dad.
Yeah, I agree. That would be great.
And I felt you talked about your parents like they were gone, but clearly they aren't. They're right there, standing there talking.
They are. I hear them every day. Yeah.
Well, we're going to let you go, but before we do, final thoughts, anything you want to say, anything you'd like to sell, anything at all?
You go first.
Even more pressure. Well, I got to tell you, first of all, thank you for the people that organized the Why Whisper Gala tonight. Amazing job. You guys are incredible. Thank you for not asking the real question 3. The real question 3 that they were going to ask us up here tonight, and which caused me to curl up into the fetal position under my desk today, was, so what's your definition of a feminist? That was the real question. So my thanks to changing the questions, because... And the only other thing that I really want to say is what an amazing presentation. You were great. You know what, you always do a great job, but what an incredible talk today. It was like compelling. I could have sat there all night and listened to your stories, and you know, thank you for coming around and doing what you do. And Dave, as always, you're amazing when you get up here and keep things going like you do and entertain everybody with the message.
Oh, thank you guys. I am lucky. And I feel like what I do is I steal things. That's all I do. I come to events like this and I steal everything I can, and then I go home and I go, Blythe, here's what I learned. Here's what we're going to do. So I'm going to go home tonight and I'm going to say, okay, listen to this, and I'm going to give her your whole talk, except I'll probably only say fuck once, but I'm going to do it. It is. Before we go, go ahead.
I try to watch that F-bomb. It's just too fun. Well, everyone knows what it means.
No, tell us. What?
You know, I will say it. What an incredibly beautiful community. Your chief of police, you were phenomenal. It has been my privilege to be with you tonight. Thank you. You are a frickin' hoot. You're awesome. Sue, everybody at the YWCA today, you were, oh my gosh, stellar, strong, stoic, principle, stick-to-itiveness women that I have ever seen. And I'm really proud of you. Lynette, the courage it took for you to come forward. Cynthia from Enbridge, thank you for that introduction. I look forward to working more closely with companies and getting them and the communities together and working side by side. You know what? To make your neighborhood good, your country good, to make the world better, because it's just a win-win for all of us. And I think life is grand. I know you all believe the same. You're a perfect model. I can't say enough beautiful things about all of you. And it has been my privilege and honor to be here with all of you tonight. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Awesome. Let's hear it for our police chief, Rick Hansen, and our very special guest here tonight, Erin Brockovich. Thank you, Erin. Awesome. So good. Thanks, Erin. And also for Lynette, if you are still here, I'm sure you are. We love you. Thank you for your talk. Have a great night. Centerpieces. Everybody always wants to know, what about this? Erin, when's your birthday? June what? June's birthday, or Erin's birthday is June 22nd, right? Whoever's birthday at the table is closest to June 22nd gets to take home the centerpiece. ConocoPhillips also donated an iPad, and Sheila O'Brien won that. Congratulations. What a great night. Thank you all. Have a great, great evening. We'll see you again.